The rain finally let up in enough time, an hour, exactly an hour, until Hollywood Studios closes. I wanted to get this video done. On today's episode, we're going to be diving into the fascinating and often overlooked history of Paul Reubens, best known as Pee Wee Herman. Pee Wee Herman had a lot to do with the Disney company after the 1985 smash hit, Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Pee Wee had a lot to do with this place, with the grand opening. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how it kind of disappeared, and then how he made a comeback and a nice little tribute. Good evening, Bo. We're talking about Pee Wee Herman tonight. Paul Reubens. He has a legacy here at this park. Not many people know about it, and that's why we're here, to uncover it. Are you ready? You got your bow tie ready, your boomerang bow tie, Bo. You're ready. Give me your best Pee Wee Herman impression. That's pretty good, Bo. That's pretty good. All right, let's go. Let's go back to 1987, Bo. Now, let's take a closer look. Now, like I said, in 1985, Paul Reubens made himself a household name with Pee Wee's Big Adventure. And then Pee Wee's Playhouse obviously was a smash hit. And I'm sure the Disney company were watching him from the beginning. In fact, there were some rumors that Paul Reubens was going to have an attraction here of his own, like a Pee Wee's Playhouse, like live show. It obviously never happened. However, before this place opened, in 1987 it was, Paul Reubens went in and did some voicing, some voice acting for a film that was about to be in the beginnings of the making of, doing the animation for the one and only Roger Rabbit. This was like the early developmental stages of the animation, but before Charles Fleischer got the gig, it was actually Mr. Herman, which is kind of why, in my way, maybe they named Baby Herman his last name Herman. Kind of give a thanks to Paul. What do you think? I can only hypothesize on that, unless we talk to Zemeckis or Steven Spielberg or anybody who worked on this film. But yeah, it all starts here with Roger. In fact, you can go on YouTube and there's the early animation footage with Paul Reubens' voice on it. And it's very interesting because Roger looks completely different than what we know as Roger now. I mean, this was early stuff, but it's so cool what could have been. You know what I mean? I mean, Pee Wee Herman doing the voice of Roger Rabbit, that would have been a whole different vibe. The way Paul Reubens would have brought that character to life, I think would have been maybe even more manic than Charles Fleischer. And that's saying something, because that dude was all over the place. You know, that's totally him. I don't know if Pee Wee would do a That's my best Roger, by the way. Now, 2 years later, after Pee Wee would be doing the voice of the early animation of Roger Rabbit, he was invited here to the new Disney-MGM studios. It hadn't even opened to the public yet. This was February of '89. The park didn't open until May 1st, 1989. And Pee Wee was here in the evening time, just like we are tonight. He signed his name right here. He put his classic, your pal, Pee Wee Herman. His handprints right here, and his bow tie right here. He actually brought a bow tie, and he took 2 fingers, placed it down just like this, and pushed it down in the cement. It's so cool. There's footage of that online. I'm going to show you guys the photos, obviously, but I'm going to show you this first before we line it up. It's interesting to see Pee Wee's hand. You know, his hands, well, we're about the same length. His are a little longer than mine. Our thumbs are about the same. That's wild. And then his shoes, when he was doing his shoe bit right here, he was standing. You can actually see where he stepped off right there. He walked off. He was doing the Pee Wee dance. You know, the Pee Wee dance. But yeah, it happened February 13th, 1989. A few months before this place opened. and I'll show you exactly where all this took place. Actually, where we got down on my knee right here, this is where the pillow was. And he had all of his little things over here to sign it, and it took place where the photographer would be right here. Pee-wee would walk up, and right here is where he did the Pee-wee dance, standing there, and then he got down on his knees right here, and he pulled the bow tie out, put the bow tie down, pressed it down into the cement. That's it. So cool. Big history right here. Big history, especially since, you know, the park hadn't opened or anything, but there was a reason Pee-wee was probably invited here. He had done his voice for a certain droid in a galaxy far, far away on the West Coast at Disneyland at the original Star Tours. That's right, Pee-wee, Paul Reubens, was invited to be the voice of one Captain Rex, or RX-24. And I believe this is an early drawing right here of Rex. As you can see, this is a blueprint of Star Tours. And there's a Captain droid right there. Kind of resembles what Rex would eventually look like. I'll have a photo right here. You can see what Rex looked like. I'm not sure if it says anything up here like hello folks, I think is what that says. Say hello to the folks, R2. That's what it says. Sorry, I'm reading from down below. It's very dark in here. I wonder if it does say Rex in here, but it says, he does mention R2. So there's Rex and R2. Look at this, it goes on forever. There's the screen back up, and there's the screen right there the audience sees, and Captain Rex. This is so cool. It doesn't say Rex on these, but know that they're in here, among other things, other amazing sci-fi relics and stuff, but we got to get back on track. But yeah, just so you know, if you want to see some early stuff of Star Tours, there it is. Now, December of '89 is when Star Tours opened, and Paul Reubens was the voice, like I said, of Captain Rex, or the original pilot droid RX-24. He was basically Pee-wee Herman as a droid. It was so good. I loved his little jokes. He would stay in there, and I still remember the end of the ride. I'm still getting used to my programming. Hey! So good. I loved it. I really do miss the original Star Tours, and he would be the voice for quite some time. And then in 1991, there was some legal issues with Paul. Won't talk about that because it's silly. And there was some things that they kind of distanced themselves from Pee-wee and Paul Reubens at that point. Now, before Star Tours, kind of getting a little ahead of myself, Paul Reubens was actually a part of the original Backlot Tour. That's right. And more on his return to the Star Wars franchise and universe in this park later on. All right, on the original Backlot Tour, there was a segment where they talked about sound effects and editing, and it was Paul Reubens and Mel Gibson. And in this segment, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Shout out to Tokay Diz for uploading this footage of Pee-wee in the sound editing room. He's like running around and mixing and doing all this crazy stuff. And there's footage of Pee-wee running through a field, and he's running towards Daryl Hannah, and they do a classic Pee-wee move and do a nod to the 1985 Tim Burton classic by making Daryl Hannah, my camera will not follow me, by making Daryl Hannah do one of those large Marge stop animation things where her face goes like, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, they totally did that with Daryl Hannah, and no one knows about that, but it's in the footage. Pee-wee screams. It cuts to a part where Mel Gibson is actually holding Pee-wee. Here, just see the photo, holding Pee-wee, and then they trade voices where Mel Gibson does Pee-wee's voice and Pee-wee does Mel Gibson's voice on the screen. So cool. And it all took place on the original backlot tour, which was the entrance right here to the old Disney Studios. That's so cool. Some kind of undiscovered Paul Reubens history that started in this tour over here. I think that segment probably took place over behind Toy Story Midway Mania, but it's so loud right now because of the whole show and everything. By the way, I didn't mention this at Star Tours when I was over there, but if you walk in, I've showed this a billion times and everyone knows about this, Rex is still in the queue as you walk through. The droid Rex is in a flight case, but he's still in the attraction, which is so cool. And in 2016, when the Adventure Continues reopened, Star Tours, the Adventure Continues 2016, they got rid of Rex, and it was just like a whole thing. But now you know some history of Pee Wee Herman and Mel Gibson here at the Disney-MGM Studios. Bet you didn't know that, right? Let's head over to Galaxy's Edge. All right, remember how I said more on Paul Reubens coming back to the Star Wars universe and everything? Well, more on that now. In 2019, we got Star Wars Galaxy's Edge here at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And it was insane. And the Disney company thought it was a great idea to bring back Paul Reubens. And they put him right over here in the form of DJ Rex inside Olga's Cantina. He is the DJ inside, pumping out the tunes. And Paul Reubens did the voice for this. I'm gonna see if I can go in and say him. There it is, DJ Rex, right there. That's so cool, right? He's back. And he took on the form of being a DJ. Dude, holy cow, that cast member was so nice. I just walked up and said, hey, I'm doing a video of Paul Reubens' history, and I know he did the voice of Rex. Can I just come inside and get a video of Rex for my video? He was like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. Then he offered to put me on the wait list. I was like, are you serious? Like, that's just so nice. The park's about to close in like 30 minutes. Oh, the park's about to close in 30 minutes. We gotta go. Let's go. You can even take home your own DJ Rex. It's a talking action figure right there. That's so cool, right? You can actually listen to DJ Rex right here. So I guess you could say once upon a time, Paul Reubens kind of had a lot to do with this place. And then at one point, 1991, it turned into the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror for Paul Reubens and Paul Reubens fans. But then things just kind of settled down. People realized that things were not what they seemed. And it turned out to be a happily ever after, if you will, for Paul here, as he's still remembered over in Galaxy's Edge. Hey, I'm gonna ride the Hollywood Tower Hotel tonight because I wish I could really go out to Hollywood Forever where Paul is laid to rest tonight, but obviously we're not in that Hollywood. But I can at least visit this place because it feels like Hollywood Forever. It's like Freddy Krueger hanging out in here. Oh no, here we go. Oh, this crowd's gonna be loud. It's been a minute since we've ridden this. I wonder if Pee Wee ever rode this. I got my own row, by the way. Score. Where are those headlight glasses? Kitty. It's probably just a dog.
One stormy night long ago, five people stepped through the door of an elevator.
These guys are gonna lose it.
That door is opening once again, and this time it's
I haven't done this ride with this camera yet. James Bond kind of stuff. Oh boy. No matter how many times I ride this, it still gets scary.
You are about to discover what lies beyond the fifth dimension, beyond the deepest darkest corner of the imagination, in the Tower of Terror.
Oh gosh. Oh Lord. Oh gosh. We still have yet to drop. It's like delayed. Uh-oh. What are we doing? Oh! Oh! Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was so awesome. That was so random too. The gimbal like lost connection. It was saying fall protection was turned on, so it knew I was falling. That's interesting.
Word of warning. Something you won't find in any guidebook.
There's one of the puppets over there. People say it's Slappy from
Make sure you know just what kind of vacancy you're filling.
And let's not forget that he was the voice of Shock, which is a big dealer at the parks. That was a great decision. It was not 25 minutes like it was posted earlier. It was a walk-on. But what a way to end the evening. Wow. They just shot fireworks right over there and I missed it. But I'm heading out. This was a fun-filled evening here at Disney Hollywood Studios. Talking about one of my favorite celebrities, favorite characters, favorite people. He's one of my favorite humans to ever be on this planet, Mr. Paul Reubens. I got to meet him, and I did a photo op with him and signature. I did a whole video of this. If you haven't seen that video, please check it out. Thank you for watching. This has been a fun evening. I really do miss Pee-wee, and there's a new documentary coming out this month on HBO Max where Paul Reubens actually tells his story. You know, he does it properly, and I'm excited for it. I know it's going to be a lot to take in, but it's going to be a good time nonetheless. But I hope you all enjoyed this episode. But the park has officially closed. I saw the fireworks as they were going off. That's a great show. That show at the very end of the day here. I don't know what it's called, but it's a very, very good show. I enjoyed it. I always get a little misty-eyed there at the end when you hear Walt say it was all started by a mouse. And it warms my heart that Pee-wee wanted to be, not many people know this, but Paul Reubens wanted to be a Mouseketeer. He wanted to be like Annette. You know, he wanted to be one of those, a Tommy Kirk, if you will. And he wrote Walt as a young child saying, I'm gonna be your next star. It never happened, obviously, but in a way, Pee-wee got his wish. He became a permanent member of the Disney family in many ways, and I'm proud of Paul. But this is the end of the episode, and it's time for us to say goodbye. And I'll see you guys on the next episode, where Mickey and I actually go over a cliff together, but a parachute happens at the last second, and I won't spoil it, but arrivederci. Stay weird. Arrivederci.